Okay, we are going to look at Tchaikovsky's Mazurka hands together now. Now, there's the main thing that you're going to need to worry about when you first put these hands together is the articulation. You don't want to get the articulation wrong when you first put the hands together. If you do, it will be a thorn in your side for the duration of the time you play the piece. So, and particularly if you're using it for a Stedford or an exam, you want to be, the more precise you are, the more favours you win. Now, you might be saying, oh, but the articulation won't matter once I add the pedal. Like, it will still matter because even it does make a difference to the overall sound. If we add the pedal too early, we'll start to get careless about when we're putting space in the music. Okay, so looking at the first bar, we've got a staccato note in this hand and a held note in that one. So that one needs to hold. And then this one is going to play the da-da, but as soon as it plays the pinky, that one lets go, not before. So it doesn't let go on the E, it lets go on that F. And then there's the chord there. Now let me see if I can count it. 1 and 2 and 3 and so hopefully when I did that, that came off exactly when I said 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and then we do the same thing on the next bar. So we get the D ready in the left hand and the E in the right hand. We're going to do that one as a scratching note. And that comes as soon as we play the A, off. And then the next section, so off the thumb on G, off, and now off the left hand there. And chord, and then together, off and chord, sorry, not and chord, off and chord, and now what? We can't actually do that connected, so it's not a big deal. When we can do connected, we will want this hand connected while this one is coming off. Okay, so that first 4 bars, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the first 4 bars. Now bar 5. So now we don't have a staccato, but we do have a quaver with a rest after it. So we still do the same thing, just not quite as short. Remember that, well, staccato sort of means, it just means separate the notes, so you're cutting the note a little bit short. This is sort of like having a crotchet with the staccato dot because we've got a quaver and then the rest. So it functions the same. And then slur, rest, and then come off, slur, chord. And notice with that chord, we have to make those separated. Rest, off, get ready for scratch, scratch, and check that this hand is still holding. Now play the next one. Now try and connect this one to the A if you can stretch that far. So get the A ready in the left hand, but that one comes off. So right hand came off, and hold, and off. And then so they're both connected. So we get the next note ready, off in the right hand, but not the left hand. And now we get our next note ready in the right hand and let go of the left hand. Slow. And then scratch, scratch, scratch. Check that's still connected. And then go to the next one, off and hold, and off here. Depends on whether I'm thinking of the right hand or the left hand. This one's holding, this one is coming off of the rest. Okay, so really be very careful. Off, check that that's holding. Get this hand ready, check that this is about to leave. Now get ready for this chord. Then check you're about to do this one staccato, but this one not. And then can hold, check that's holding, and go to the A. And even I forgot to come off. So you may need to practice a lot slower than that. Really keep an eye out, watch like a hawk, and then it will be easy to learn once you've got it. Okay, so then we do the same thing again. So off here, and then off for the rest, and off, chord, off, chord, off, chord, off right hand, left hand, chord, off. Now it's a C chord in the left hand instead of what we did before. Off, off, and then off. And then we're going to do the octave. And as soon as we do that bottom F, we've got to close our hand and also come off here. F major. So I'll do that one again. So you can see what happens in fast motion. Now a G7 chord. Now this is the one without a dot. So, oh, both hands are the same. Both are quavers. So we leave them both together. We have a silence for quaver rest, slur. And now that here was the really hard one. So get the C chord, hold that thumb, and you are going to check, scratch, check, scratch, check. Have I kept holding these other notes but let go of those? Scratch, scratch. And then we're at bar 16, I think. 13, 14, 15, yes. And both come off. And hold, off, and off, and hold, and off the right hand, and off both hands. So you might want to highlight the crotchets in that little section so that you know which ones come off. So these both came off together in bar 16, and hold, this one doesn't come off. This one doesn't come off, but then we come off just for a second to go, and together. So that was connected. Then they both come off because they're only a quaver. And then, and hold, get ready to again, and off, and left hand hold, right hand off, and then both hands off. Okay. So hopefully that made sense. It's hard when we're talking about two hands, isn't it? And all the things that are happening. Okay, so now we're to bar 19, the second section. So we've got a staccato and a quaver and a quaver here. At full speed, it's going to be barely noticeable what the difference is. What I would do differently is I'd scratch this one more but lift that one more. But oops.
Hello, Moto.
Just put that on silent. Okay, so which bar was that? That was bar 19. So this one's not staccato, this one is. Very slightly different. Probably don't need to worry about that moment there. Then we've got slur, and then we've got a G7 chord here. And the G7 is going to hold while this hand scratches. Scratch, scratch. The left hand is still holding because it's got a slur to the next note. 4, and they both come off because it's both were quavers. So off, slur, off, and off, strawberry, off, and off. So I'll just break that down a bit further. So I've got the D minor, quaver, rest, slur. Now crotch in the left hand, off, and then both are quavers. So they're both, but this is going to slur, and then they're both coming off, and off, quaver, rest, crotchet, quaver, off everything, and off everything. Then hold strawberry, off everything, and off everything, although it's only one hand at that moment. And then together, both holding, and then both off, and then 4 on E slur, and then we've got our staccatos here while this one holds for the G7, off, still holding, then come off here, off, and the right hand comes off almost at the same time, and off for the rest, and then hold, off for the rest, and off for the rest, then hold for the strawberry, off, and off, and off. Oh, that might be a typo. I think it might be, and that might still be supposed to hold. I think it might be a typo. So that's still crotchet. You can check on your edition if it's crotchet goes to quaver. In which case it would be strawberry, off, and hold, and off. When we've got the right hand in, that we don't feel the harmonic rhythm change in the left hand like we did when we played hands separately. Okay, so now I've got 2 notes staccato, so off, slur. Now left hand is not staccato, scratch, scratch, off, both hands off, not staccato, and off, not staccato, slur, off, and off, connect, con, off, and off, and connect, off. 4 on E, slur, and we're going to do the left hand connected, right hand separated, off, and then they both come off, and off, and that's an accent, so we'll lean into a bit more. Now, whatever finger you use on G sharp and D, you have to go smoothly to there. It doesn't matter if you can't reach 2 and 5. I like 2 and 5 goes to 1 and 4 there. Oops, where am I? Am I doing it wrong? and that's off after a quaver. And then this one is 1 and 4 because of the strawberry, and off, and off. And notice that the off is not like staccato. It's not sharp. It's just lifted, and lifted, and lifted, and then we're back to our first idea again. Off, off, 2, 3, 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 off, 2, scratch, scratch, off, to off, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So up to there, if you've practiced it really well the first time, because there's no point putting the whole piece together and having a whole piece dodgy in one go, get the first 4 bars really accurate, or start with getting the first bar really accurate and then the first 4 bars. Then when you get to this, there's no work to do because we've done all the work the first time round. And then we're up to bar 47, which is where everything changes. So G minor, but it's the same idea. So the staccato is in the right hand, off, and then as soon as we play that A, we let go of the left hand, off, scratch, scratch, and then off, and then left hand comes off, and then off in the right hand, and then left hand off, scratch, scratch, off for the rest, and off, and hold, and I said an off and I should have said and hold. I'll do it again for bar 49, off, and then left hand, off, 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 quaver, and hold, off, the right hand only, and quaver, and off, hold, sorry, and hold, off the right hand for the semi-quaver rest, and off, and off, and off. So that's getting dying away, and those lovely off notes make it really easy to make that dying away sound. So just watch out for those holds at the end, because they do creep up on us. One extra thing I want to make big note of is if I'm examining this, I would be listening to that third beat of the bar. The students who, firstly, you get the articulation right, that's you've won the examiner's heart, because they go, oh, this assignment is really fastidious and careful with all the details. But the third beat of the bar doesn't work. There's 3 notes in that chord. 3 notes is automatically louder than 1 note by himself. But the third note of the bar needs to be softer. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So make sure you control the chord. And so on. So make sure you're not thumping the third chord in the bar, or the third beat in the bar. So there you go. So haven't talked about louds and softs much and things like that. So as after you know the notes, you can look at the louds and softs. But if you've got the articulation right and you've got those chords not thumping and you are bringing out the right hand melody, then bringing into a little bit of rubato is quite an easy task. But don't do that until, and the pedal, but don't do either rubato or pedal until all the articulation is really spot on. Okay, have fun learning it.